Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is, wherever you're from, and welcome to another Microsoft Power Platform community call. Yay! We are super excited to have you. We got, several hundred of our closest friends hanging out in chat. And if you didn't join chat, right, if you're watching this after the fact, you missed a good time when we talked about the turbo button and 486s and 286s and old PCs. So you just never know what's going to happen. All right, anyway, today what we're going to do, we got lots of community updates we're going to give you. We're going to have 3 different community demos. We're going to have a new segment where I get to talk even more, because who doesn't love me talking, and all of that. So let's dive right in. Oh, but see, I got to press the button before I can dive right in. There we go. How about that? I just did the welcome. See? All right, so our agenda, like I said, we're going to have some resources. We've got samples. Katrina is going to join us to talk us through those. We're going to do a group picture, so if you'd like to share your beautiful face, get ready to do that. I brushed my hair and my teeth today. I know, you guys should feel spoiled. Our demos, we've got Jansson. I said that wrong. I apologize, but that's what I do. I misspell things. But he's going to talk about migrating applications from Lotus Notes, Domino to Dataverse and Power Apps. I'm super excited for this. Back when I started my IT career back in the 90s, I first started with Lotus Notes. I can't wait to see where Lotus Notes has come since I think I started at 4.1 or something. And then Matt's going to talk to us about fitting the gaps for manufacturing with Dynamics 365. I know very little about Dynamics 365, so I bet I learned a thing or two there. And then finally, Reid is going to cover tracking community engagement in Microsoft Teams. So very fun stuff, right? We all use Teams. We're using Teams right now, so should be good. All right, just a reminder, there are lots of different ways to connect, right? So we've got, the community videos, so where this recording and other videos get posted as they get produced. We have got the LinkedIn community. We got a whole bunch of GitHub communities. We've got community samples and all of those other fun things. So the good news is you don't have to remember all of these links and URLs. You can just jump into aka.ms community/home. That will take you to a lovely web page with a curated setup for all of those fun things. And if you're still rocking on Twitter or X, I'm a Twitter/X guy myself, at M365PNP is a great place to connect, right? You get all the tweets. Honestly, that's how I find the links when I have to remember how to get into this call every month. And that's all right? You'll also see there posts. There's lots of other community calls, right? I'm going to let Vesa talk to you guys about those in just a second, but all those different community calls are out there for you guys to join. So not only engage with this, but other parts of the Power Platform, SharePoint, other community stuff. All right, anyway. So that brings us over here to also, speaking of being community stuff, we would love for you to present, right? Every month we have some community presenters that, put on the brave face and show up and share their data or share their demos. Right, you could be an old presenter, right? I've been doing this for 20 plus years. You could be a new presenter trying to kind of break out there. Right? We're here to help everyone. We're here to help you, coach you up on that. So if you have any desire to get involved with the community, then you can jump out there to aka MS Community Request Demo and share your thing, and we will get with you about joining to do a demo for us. And in just a minute, I'm going to talk to you about one of the extra benefits of demos. I got a special little story for you guys, but not quite yet. All right, Power Platform samples and badges. Katerina, are you here? Would you like to talk to us for a moment about the different Power Platform samples this month?
I think Katerina is on the call, but I think we cannot promote her as a presenter, and as we muted attendees because of the mic issue. No, I tried. So we tried. Let you? Yeah, so. All right, I think we tried to do that now for quite a few times, and allow mic has been clicked as well. No. Unfortunately, maybe I'll take this one. So Katerina, we do apologize. We needed to mute, by the way, attendees because there was a really weird microphone issue, but we'll try to get that one sorted out for the future calls. But Katerina, thank you for being here. I'll cover this one. So on the Power Platform samples at AKMS Power Platform samples, 3 new awesome samples available. So we have to create notes from Canvas, sample from Shahir Ahmad, really, really cool stuff there. We have an AI daily time management plan from April Dunham, the one and only April Dunham, who's also contributing within these samples. And then Craig White has contributed also Power Apps dynamic forms. So how you can build the dynamics forms based on the selections and things what users are doing. Really, really cool samples available. Again, if you go AKMS Power Platform samples, you can find all of this from that one centralized location.
All right, Vesa, since you're talking, I meant to introduce you in the call, not that you need an introduction, but Vesa is here to help me make sure I don't mess up and, fill in the gaps quite well for us. But Vesa, you want to talk to a little bit about sharing is caring? Because let's face it, that is one of your primary loves in life, I think.
Thank you. So the Sharing is Caring initiative is something what originally actually David Warner and Hugo and a few other people created, then on top of our community engagement model. And this really comes back on the fact that we are asking people to contribute samples and consume the samples, but what if you don't know? There's a lot of people who are new. We don't necessarily have a background for 20 years in IT or computer science, and we want to still make it available for you to easily learn the getting started. The Sharing is Caring initiative has been a bit of a break, but as David is coming back pretty soon and other people are coming back, we're starting that again. And the main idea here is that none of these sessions are being recorded, and it's kind of will really, really guide you through on how to get started as a contributing or consuming samples or writing for the web, or if you have any questions, and that's what the office hours is all about. So if you go AKMS-sharing is caring, you can actually find more details and the dates, and we keep gonna got updates there starting next week when David is also back to the business. So really, really cool to get him back and get him moving on things.
Yep, I'm sure everyone would be much happier having him around instead of me around to do all this talking.
I don't think the plan is actually to get you away from talking, so it's fine. It will be most likely 2 of you or 3 of us who will be then, chatting in these calls. Now, as you then learn how to contribute, you hopefully give back for the community, for example, in the format of samples. Can you go click one more click forward so we get the nice batch available? So we don't get that as a yes, there we go. So as you then contribute, hopefully back for the community, again, not a requirement, but it's always good to give back for the community, for the people who are contributing. We want to recognize you, and we have this greatly powered recognition program. Has existed now for 2 years, and it's I think we have 2,000 people or 2,000 batches already provided. As you contribute, depending on what you're contributing, you can get a different set of batches. You get at least the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community contributor batch. The thing what you need to remember is to sign up, so we know who you are, and then within that sign up form, you're basically saying this one was the sample which I contributed, so we're able to then provide you the correctly recognition, which you can then share within your profile for your employers or the other people in the community. But I guess that's it for the community recognition program.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you. So speaking of things, you feel free to chime in here as we go, right? But we have the different events coming up. Next up, of course, is the Microsoft 365 conference in Orlando, end of April, early May. Should be very fun, right? And I think that one's got a nice mix of content across, Teams, SharePoint, Power Platform. I'm guessing some Copilot will probably be mentioned along the way. So nice, diverse conference, because really, right, you can't be focused on just one piece of this ecosystem. You got to know it all. So conferences like that really stretch those boundaries, I think, are very helpful. Then we've got TechCon 365. They do it a little bit different. Instead of one big trip down to see the mouse in Orlando, they've got different events in different parts of the country to make it a little easier to get to, a little bit more regional. So they've got Seattle in June, DC in August, and November, they are doing something in Dallas. So check out TechCon 365. Also another very spread across the ecosystem conference. Last but not least, you can come see me. Woohoo! Right? I will be on stage in Vegas. Who doesn't want to come see me? And probably a few other presenters. I think it's not just me. It might be other people. But Las Vegas, September 18th through the 20th, is the show. Of course, the workshops are on both sides of that. But this was an awesome conference last year. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to present there again this year. So Very fun. Vesa, are you headed to any of these shows we just talked through?
Yeah, I'm definitely in Orlando. I might be in some of the tech cons, and I might be in Las Vegas. I think they were planning to rename, by the way, the Las Vegas as Shane Young Conference, wasn't it? So
I hear attendance would go up if they just said it was only me, but you know.
Yeah, I guess it's not that inclusive enough with that name, I guess.
Yeah, it's Shane's just not interesting enough. All right. Anyway, so there are a bunch of other upcoming events. As you can see, we've got a whole set of these. And remember, if you are thinking, well, I don't see my event on there, you can jump out there to AKA MS Community Days and you can get your event listed as well. So we'll talk about your event next month. So if you know of community events that we're not sharing the love with, please get out there and share those. But as you can see, we got community days, we got some fabric stuff, we got collab, we got all kinds of fun things here. Lots of cool events coming down the pipeline for all of us. All right, we're almost to this demo part. Let's see what we got left here. Oh no, but before we do demos, Vesa, yes. It's picture time.
Almost in the schedule. Yes, let's do a quick group photo. I will share my screen and we'll get all of you in this lovely together mode. Teams are working properly today, which is great. So we have 50 seats in a room. It is a bit pixelated again, regardless of the fiber, which we finally got in here. So clearly my fiber wasn't the issue. Maybe the issue was somewhere else. Let's wait for a while. We have 50 seats in a room. Hopefully the picture will get a bit more precise. I can still recognize people. Shane, you'll be the example. Wave your hands, wave your hands. Where are you? Where are you? There we go, on the middle. Yeah. Good. So a few more seats in a room. Unfortunately, quite pixelated today, but we can see the dancing, all of that. I will start the recording in a second. I think we are maxed out on the 50 people. Unfortunately, it's 50. We're working on as a Microsoft for a larger support here sooner or later. But let's do some hand waving, everybody. Just waving for the other people in the community. We can definitely see that people are waving. We do not see who those people are because it's a bit pixelated today. But clearly it wasn't the fiber issue. So it's somewhere else that's pixelated, but all good. Excellent. Thanks for that one. We will share that within the social media and at least we can recognize some shirts and some people there. But Shane, who do we have on the demo side today?
Oh, Vesa, before we do the demos, I think we have my new segment.
Yes, that's true. That is true. Yes, please do share your screen and that slide so people are ready for your segment.
Share. All right. So see, this is what happens. You got me in charge, right? I was the guy that was presenting. So the last person to touch the deck gets to do whatever they want. Sometimes you mess with the other presenters. Sometimes you just add a slide for yourself because you want to. So real quick, what I wanted to do was just take a second and give you guys 2 updates from the field, right? And so this is my idea of just every month I want to be able to share what I'm seeing out there. And the first one I want to talk about is community works. Okay, so what do I mean by that? We all think about the community, you know, people like me getting on here going blah, blah, blah. You know, we got some demos, all of that, right? But the community is really this whole thing, right? Like it's a whole momentum. It has a lot of opportunities. So if you go back to January, right, that was the first call that I joined. One of the presenters on that call was Ryan Jansson, right? He showed us some different stuff with Power Apps, making them look pretty, some tricks like that, right? He did his demo. It was a good demo. Yay. Well, Ryan and I had connected on LinkedIn, right? He'd reached out to me a month or so before that, and we connected on there. And so after the call, I was like, hey, who is this Ryan guy, right? So I went out there. I look on LinkedIn. I find him, and I see the little open to work little banner on there. And so I'm like, oh, so I shot Ryan a little message on LinkedIn and said, hey, what are you looking for? And he kind of told me what it was. I said, Power Apps 911, we were hiring. So Ryan ends up applying. Fast forward a little bit, Ryan gets interviewed, and Ryan's first day here at Power Apps 911 was yesterday. Yay! Right, like this is what the community is supposed to be. It's not just content, it's not just learning, it's not just presentations, but it's the ecosystem, right? So between Ryan presenting on here and had previously made the connection with me on LinkedIn, you know, we saw the connection and I got the opportunity to now have a great coworker, right? So just remember that, like, participate in the community is not just a thing that, you know, go through the motions, but if you're doing it right, you're engaging, it opens up all types of opportunities, right? Maybe it's new jobs, maybe it's new presentations, maybe it's growing your skill sets, but the community really has a lot to offer everyone. So that's my note for you guys is, you know, get involved, do it right, and you just never know. But I'm not offering everyone that presents on here a job. Let's be clear. Secondly, Copilot, right? I know that some of you are like, why do they say Copilot every 5 minutes? Well, the only reason we keep saying Copilot every 5 minutes is because not enough people are really getting that light bulb moment, right? Like if you're still sitting there going, AI, whatever, it's just a fad, it's just a thing. Like, no, you have got to start incorporating it into your lives. You have got to start finding a way to, make it something that drives you, that you find interesting, right? You need to have your wow moment. You need to get your 10,000 hours in and talking to AI. And the only way to do it is to start talking to AI. So if you're one of those people that are still avoiding Copilot, AI or ChatGPT, Claude, Llama, whatever, Gemini, I guess, right? All those AI tools. If you're not engaging with those on a daily basis, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So my advice to you, I'll get off my soapbox, but please, more Copilot in your life. There's so many cool things it can do. Okay, there you go. So that's the new Shane Notes from the Field, and a lovely picture of me and Buddy. Who doesn't enjoy that? All right, that then brings us around to demo time. All right, so Mats, hopefully we can get you unmuted and sharing your screen. Fingers crossed.
Let's see.
Hear you. That's good. That's a good first step.
You can hear me.
Yes, I can see you. Now can you share your screen and we will consider this a victory.
Very good. Very good. So I had a lot of chat comments about what is Lotus Notes. Some of you might have it in your organization while you don't know it. There are over 10 million applications out there just waiting to be migrated, because I believe there is not so many companies that want to keep it. They have tried years and years and years to get rid of it. So it's like a virus, 35 years old application virus. You have to get rid of it. And Power Platform, Power Apps, Dataverse might be the answer. The question is how to get there. So my name is Jansson. I'm working as its Chief Technology Officer at Adopteq. We are a company that provides software in this migration space. So we are talking about software like migrating to SharePoint, migrating to Dataverse, archiving those old legacy applications, or exporting the content. And what we are talking about here, to just make it visible for you, is this is Lotus Notes. So Shane, you used 4.1, I think. It must be over 20 years away. And I can tell you it haven't changed too much since then. It haven't changed too much. And this application I have open here is actually written those 25 years ago. And they are still running amazingly, but scarily. So details like this, and it's a document database. It's a document database. So you can see content like this with rich text, with table data, all of that stuff, with choice fields, checkboxes, all of that, combined with attachments inside those records. So it can be quite scary for those that doesn't know about it. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of you 400-500 people that is on the call does know quite a bit about it. So that's a little bit background. So what we are talking about is to migrate something that might have been created 25 years ago. So there wasn't it wasn't any web available. It wasn't any .NET available. It is so old. But trying to combine that with highly modern technique, highly modern platform like Dataverse can be a challenge. So we are using for this, reading the data from the Notes and Domino servers, using a quite old API, but we are using a Dataverse web API to push it to Dataverse. So trying to find a common denominator for this landed on quite old technique as well. As you see, it's WinForms. WinForms, we have all these possibilities. So you can run web API, Dataverse web API, MSAL, all of that in WinForms. That's totally possible. We do it. So the way it works is that we are reading from the source. We are connecting to the target, and connecting to the target, we are using MSAL, just making sure that we are logged in. We are reading whatever tables you might have in Dataverse, and the columns and the column types like this, like pick lists or stuff like that. Domino notes and Domino is kind of two names of the same problem. No, same software. Have quite some differences to Dataverse. So we have to convert things between. So we have to convert the body field. We have to convert drop downs, checkboxes like that, because in Notes and Domino it can be text. In Dataverse, as you probably know, it must be a number presented as text. So we have double conversions. Then, of course, we need to provide full fidelity, and customer need to be able to trust that everything came over. Therefore, you can follow up, and you should be able to follow up every document. So what I want to tell you is that this community and the samples and the share, everything that people have shared about the web API and stuff like that have been tremendously helpful. Me, myself, I'm a Domino developer since 30 years back. I'm not doing that kind of work nowadays. I'm migrating off, but I need to know the source. I need to know what comes in. And I need also be learning fast what I can push to Dataverse. So having this document as an example, let's go over and look how it looks in Dataverse. And I'm going to open this document. So here we have what have been migrated. The title, myself is the owner. I have the city created on what's yesterday. And you see the rich text. And you see also the inline picture. And let's open up another document that contains some attachments. And the attachments looks pretty much the same. Let's go back here and look at this in the Lotus notes. So here I have attachments in Lotus notes, which is stored inside the document. Scary enough. And do we do that in Dataverse? No, we don't. But we are using the document storage facility in SharePoint for this. So what is going to happen if I click on this one is going to open SharePoint and read that PDF e-ticket from the air company, right? So pretty neat. And it's quite easy to just set it up, scan the database, and push the data. Highly controllable. Let's. By the way, I think I have time. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I know that there is always people that will take more time in their presentations, but I will actually, right as we speak, do a live demo of migrating a document. So now it's migrated. Let's see which document did we migrate. I will open this in Lotus Notes, but while it's opening, I will go over to Dataverse, to Power Apps, and I know that this is the document with some text, with an attachment. Everything will work, and I have the document here in Lotus Notes, and you see it's pretty much the same. So easy to use, and a helpful web API from Microsoft, and all your good samples in this community have helped us doing this. So thank you for listening, and back to my contact details. If you want to, you can just reach out. Thank you so much, and back to you, Shane.
Thank you very much. It's like a stroll down memory lane for me, though, seeing Lotus Notes. It's yeah, it was 4.1. It was 1996-ish when I was first started with Notes, and anyway, so thank you for sharing that. That was great. All right, next up we got Matt. Matt wants to talk a little bit about Power Automate. I should say Matt Burback, right? Because we have more than one Matt in the world. But Power Automate fits the gaps from manufacturing by Dynamics 365 SCM. So a little bit of fun with Dynamics. I can't wait to see what you got here. So Matt, take it away.
Okay, so Shane, can you hear me okay? And can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. And yes, sir.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thanks again for hosting me today. Just a kind of a short, at least walkthrough or show and tell of what we've done at Winnebago Industries, because we are technically a large Microsoft environment with a lot of different systems, Microsoft 365, Power Platform, and Dynamics 365. So to jump right in, Winnebago Industries, again, a US-based company, make a lot of different motorhomes, travel trailers, outdoor boating equipment, pontoons, etc. So again, just a splash screen here of all the different product divisions that we have today. And to jump right in, so defining the problem. So where we've been coming from is, again, we're a large manufacturing organization, and we're currently on a journey to implement Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations as the core ERP system. That being said, not every ERP system can do everything that your company does today. So that's where the term fit the gaps comes in. And the challenge that was presented about a year ago was there was a new business process requirement of being able to do some type of real-time labeling when a certain event would happen within our production facilities. Good or bad, the unfortunate part was many people had told our team or our business analysts that it could not be done. And luck and circumstance, I guess, I happened to then step into number 3 on the list here, or the third item. We're getting involved with another Microsoft ISV called RF Smart, which is more of a warehouse management system for doing things through a handheld. Again, all Microsoft technology, but to be able to do inventory transactions or production transactions. And it happened to be that they had certain capabilities. So again, looking at defining the problem here is, how do we approach it? Again, many years ago, the term used to be you build it, or you buy it, or you host it. And now with everything either being on-prem or online in the cloud, we've got different options and choices. In addition, if you look at the 5th bullet, there's other options that we could have custom developed something. We could have written something in C#, or we could have used the native language of Dynamics 365, which is X++. So the challenge was, we've got all these different tools available to us. Which one would be the best? So moving to the next slide, the solution approach was, well, can we leverage what Power Platform could provide us in order to connect all these different disparate systems? Again, Dynamics 365 F&O is our ERP system that sits in the cloud. And then we also have the RF Smart, that's an on-premise system. So that sits in on-premise servers that we run in-house. So again, the goal was we have these lightweight requirements. They're asking for a lot of things that haven't been done before. So to go to a quick visual, and then I can actually show and at least demonstrate a little bit at a lightweight what it looks like. Again, if you can follow from the left, going to the right, down, and then back to the left again, essentially what it is Dynamics 365 has a capability called business events. So what happens when in the warehouse module, they have something called a pick put event. So when somebody does something on the production floor, it generates a signal. That signal we're then picking up as a trigger inside of Power Automate Cloud Flows. So it watches for that data. And then it proceeds to the next steps of, okay, well, I need additional data about what it is because we need to gather information, either looking at some potential logic of saying, well, we've got 12 different manufacturing plants within our whole organization. You know, one focuses on metals, another focuses on sewing, or they call it stitchcraft. Another focuses on building cabinets. We call that sawmill. Everybody does something different. So the flexibility that we had with Power Automate was, instead of hard coding something and then being stuck with it, we've got the ability to kind of flex and move around with Power Automate. So inside of here, we've got a number of different connectors where we go and query inside of Dynamics 365. We run through a number of different, case switch, what kind of logic. And in fact, there's certain plants that have certain production steps that need to happen. So we need to read data differently from every area. So it keeps flowing downstream. Then the next piece is we pulled in Dataverse, because then some people are saying, well, we've got over 90 label printers. Again, different facilities have them. So the goal was, well, how can we look up that information efficiently? People in their heads say, well, I know I want to print at printer A or printer C based on this rule or this logic. But again, we built that, we prototyped it and built it lightweight inside of Power Automate. And then because RF Smart, which is this component here, is on premise, we're leveraging the on-premise data gateway because it allows you to make calls via API from the cloud to on-premise. And luck and circumstance, RF Smart, they have a capability called Print Suite Bridge. Again, this is a Microsoft ISV. So we built a custom connector that then sends a very lightweight JSON payload from Power Automate to that. It then grabs the necessary nice label. Again, it does a proper lookup into a Dataverse table to make sure, well, if it's this plant and it's this production item, or it's this step in a route, this is the printer we want it to go to. And then likewise, everything then flows downstream into our different Zebra printers. So if I can flip screens here real quick, I'll just give a show. So again, I'm sharing a screen from Dynamics 365. Again, Dynamics 365 is a very large, I'll call it ERP platform. So this is just the splash screen of the home screen. But where I'm going within all these capabilities that we have here, if I go into system administration, there's a capability called business events. And these are the triggers or events that happen inside this ERP system. And again, you can see a number of them exist off the shelf or out of the box. We actually had to build one. So that's, again, writing X++ code with all the different Microsoft Visual Studio capabilities we have. And based on doing that, it provides a certain structure to say, well, what type of event are you looking for? And what type of data do you need? We then pass that information over into a Power Automate flow. So let me go back to a tab here just to show you. Here we go. So this is the trigger step that is included by Microsoft out of the box for Power Automate Cloudflow. It's called when a business event occurs. Essentially, you're selecting the instance of the ERP platform. Again, production, development, test QA, UAT. You select your category, which aligns in our case to inventory management. What business event are you looking for? We built one called Pick Put, and then you define the legal entity that it's for. So in turn, what happens then is that single event or that trigger can then cause a number of downstream actions. And then again, just here's a prototype one. This is not the one that's in production. We've built some separate ones on the side, but just to give you some context, again, I'm just zooming out here to what it looks like is when the system actually starts, it runs through, grabs additional data from Dynamics, uses all the built-in native capability of processing through Power Automate, but then we branch off based on which production vertical that event occurred in. And as you can see here, again, not zooming into the details, each vertical has a different vertical swim lane of what logic they want to consume. And what's interesting to note here, when we started this about a year ago, is there were probably only 3 verticals in here with a set of 2 simple steps. Grab the data from Dynamics 365 and then print a label. Since then, it's evolved into this very large structure because there's been different changes, new requirements, etc. So one of the great things we like to say about the Power Automate platform is, well, what is it you're wanting to do and how do you want to do it? And we can accommodate. Now, the reality is the volume of this has exceeded what the original requirement was. So just to give you a snapshot of what it looks like, here is the telemetry in the last couple of weeks, and you can see on a daily basis, the number is extremely high. So when we started this, we were maybe probably running about 6,000 or 7,000 flows a day. But now that we've added additional plants into this large ERP program, the volume has considerably skyrocketed. So we've got to be careful there. So again, if I flip back over to the screen here, you can see that there's a number of different connectors, and I'll zoom in just to let me get here. Let me zoom in. Okay. There we go. If I move down towards the lower section here, whoops, I moved to the lower section here. It is right here where we have a custom connector that's actually calling out to the on-premise service from RF Smart, and we're able to send, again, a very lightweight JSON payload to them that then sends that labeling to the printer. So again, it's the flexibility that we've been offered from the Power Platform has been incredible. So if I go back to my slide deck here, let me go to my next slide. In terms of a summary of learnings, because I want to watch the clock very carefully. So development, it's been great for an iterative nature. Very good for quick prototyping and validation. Like I said, the requirements kept changing, so we didn't have to write code, release it through a number of different build processes. And again, it's visual in nature, so when people could look at the cloud flow, again, we've got manufacturing engineers assigned in each vertical. It was great for them to help see and understand how this actually worked. But some of the learnings we had was most important with licensing. So as you saw before with the large telemetry, we had some issues of either capacity or throttling because Dynamics 365 includes some levels of Power Platform entitlements specific to cloud flows. But what we had found is there's different levels of performance and throughput. So we actually went ahead and purchased either the individual plans for a process plan, assigned it to it. We've even experimented with Azure Pay-as-you-go. And the interesting thing is, even though it's currently in preview and it's not a cost, and considering our volume is high, the throughput and the performance has been fantastic. So again, we've got to carefully monitor this. So from a monitoring standpoint, we take advantage of the user interface in the portal, which we saw before the telemetry. We've also been running, again, I'd highly recommend take a look at the Azure Application Insights preview if you're using Power Automate. It's a little bit after the fact, but it gathers a lot of telemetry inside of Azure, and I believe I've got that tab here. So again, a very simple visual. It feels near real time to me, but it's always after the fact. So what we're actually doing for some better performance monitoring is the last bullet that you see here. The Microsoft 365 command line interface does have a capability where you can actually run queries to see, well, what Power Automate cloud flows are currently running. So we've had some instances where they've been running very long, too long, and that usually indicates there's something wrong with some API endpoint we need to take advantage of or take a look at. So that's more of a TBD in the future. And last but not least, again, there's some new capabilities coming out in Dynamics that could eliminate this cloud flow. So again, that rapid iteration prototyping has been helpful for us. The other goal is to actually separate out that large flow that you saw and break it into each vertical. So each manufacturing engineer, he or she has ownership. We're even looking at potentially, should we migrate this up to logic apps, again, for scalability, better cost, better management, better monitoring, and then just adding in some basics of better error handling and improving our ALM process of moving it through the environments. And so in a summary, that's really where we looked at Power Platform or Power Automate helping fit the gaps with our Dynamics 365 implementation. And in the last section, other departments have learned of this, and so we're taking advantage of other Power Automate capabilities, whether it's with Power BI or using adaptive cards to give a different user interface to production planners to do different activities they do on a daily basis. So that is the end, and I will go ahead and go to mute and stop sharing. So thank you.
Matt, that was awesome. I love to see such giant scale, and you guys, like you said, you just kind of put your head down and said, "Hey, I can solve this problem." And how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. That's what you did.
Exactly.
You just kind of little piece by little piece, and I think it's always an important reminder. I'm putting words in your mouth but when you build giant flows like that, like you didn't just sit down one afternoon and build that entire flow, right? Like that's not how this works, right? You built one piece, got it working, and said, okay, cool. Now let's add a second, a third, a fifth, a 100th, right?
Correct. Yes.
And I think that people sometimes that gets lost and they sit down and think, I could never build something that big. Yeah, none of us can build something that big in one click, one go, right? It's baby steps. You build one piece, you build another, you stack it up, and all of a sudden you've got something giant like that, amazing. But yeah, you can't build that in one sitting.
Exactly. Crawl, walk, run. That's the analogy everybody uses today.
I love it. All right. Well, there's definitely some cool stuff in chat for you to check out, some different questions and feedback. So jump in and look over there. But now we'll switch gears over to Reid. Reid is going to talk about tracking community engagement in Microsoft Teams. Right? I think we're all big fans of community. We're all big fans of Teams. So we're looking forward to what you got here, Reid.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. You want to share your screen? Oh, I can see you now. You got your whiz hat on.
Yeah, here, let's see here. Getting everything set up. Let's see. Oh. Okay.
And remember why Reid's getting set up here, right? You all have the chance. You got something cool to present. Let's share it, right? Let's dive in here. Go out there. I put the link earlier that you can fill out, and you can be a presenter too, and share your stuff. You just never know. Like, how many of you knew about Lotus Notes before today, right? But we all learned a bunch of stuff about Lotus Notes and mapping and databases. You never know what you're going to do, so don't think no one cares about what I'm working on. We all want to learn. We don't know what we don't know, and the only way that we do is if people like to share. So there you go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, it took a second to load my screen share. But can you see my slides?
We've got you, Reid. I will stop talking and let you dive in here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, great to be with you all, Shane. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thanks, Matt, and all the presenters. It's great to be with you all today. My name's Reid Schmidling. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself here in a second, but I think without saying, I have to start with thanking all of you. Thank you to all the folks at Microsoft for facilitating this call on a monthly basis. I'm fairly new to the community, so I've already received a lot of value. It's inspiring to see all the presentations and the demos, and definitely pushes me to want to learn more about Power Platform and M365 and expand my capabilities. So, that obviously includes everyone in the community because y'all are so supportive. To all the folks at Microsoft, thank you so much. So y'all are rock stars. Okay, so diving a little bit about myself. So that's my wife and I and our brand new son, Leo. I thought that one was pretty funny because we were trying to take a family Christmas photo and he's was a little upset. So most of my life revolves around being a new dad and obviously supporting Kansas City supporter, go Wiz, coming off a nice win over the weekend. I currently work for Centene. I'm a senior business intelligence engineer. And primarily in the end user experience space. So deal with a lot of end user feedback, sentiment, and a lot of user experience data. So I'm fairly new to Power Platform. Historically, I do come from finance. I actually have no technical background other than what I've learned up to this point. So I started dabbling in Power Platform just about a year ago. And, starting 2024, I was like, this year I'm going to get out and start sharing some of my work and sharing some of the things I do and really evolve. So, and I'm privileged to be with all of you here today to share some of that. Okay, so just to kind of do a little run through of today, I'm going to walk through a couple Power Automate flows, do a slight demo, and then hopefully even share some enhancements and alternatives if y'all are looking to implement something similar. So without further ado, our favorite time, the demo time. And so I had to throw in Taylor Swift. My wife is a huge Swiftie, so I thought I'd throw in a fun little Taylor gift to get us going. So I'm going to stop sharing and then flip over to my Power Automate flows here in a Switch the window. Awesome. So a lot of the work that we do and inside my role is talking with end users, like how are they experiencing technology? And if you want to apply this to your situation, if you have a group of UAT testers and you're looking to get feedback, I've kind of built a system in Microsoft Teams that helps facilitate the ability to better track feedback and track engagement. So that's from what are individuals saying, what kind of comments are they making? So kind of starting at square one, kind of starting at the basics, triggering based on when new posts are made. Now, I did build, I'll kind of be going into the prompts and models that I did build through AI Builder to help kind of classify or determine what topic is being discussed in the post or reply. And then obviously, we have a great storage solution with Dataverse to store all this data, which I'll kind of dig into. And so outside of the topic, also grabbing the classification and sentiment, and then obviously storing that information in our lovely Dataverse table. Now, taking it to step 2, obviously we can get all the posts, but what about that engagement underneath the post? What about all those replies? We got something for you there too. We got, using and calling Graph API to get those replies underneath those posts. To kind of get that back and forth engagement. And, are people getting their questions answered? What we've found in a lot of the communities and teams that we've run is there's a lot more engagement under the posts in the replies than in the posts themselves. So I think we kind of came up with a really good solution here. One thing I wanted to call out that we found very helpful is after we extract messages, filtering out those deleted. So in the output from getting different channel messages, we found that the deleted ones will creep in. So if you can actually come in here and filter those out on the onset, and then just get those messages that, if someone made a mistake and, oh, I don't want to ask that question anymore, they delete it, just we can filter those out real quick. And we're doing the same process here. We're running it through our same prompts and models, storing it in the tables. And another kind of constraint that we ran into is obviously there's a limit to the number of replies that we'll receive back as a part of the Graph API call. So we did kind of find the solution through looping through each one. And luckily enough, if you get the OData next link, plug that in as dynamic content, it'll give you the next set of replies, which is great and easy. Love it, easy plug and play. Okay. And last but not least, why not get those reactions to the messages and replies? And that's what we're cleaning up with. So we got the post, we got the replies. What if someone wants to amplify that post through a love or a heart or a thumbs up or even a mean face? Luckily, we got a solution here to get those reactions. So kind of same idea. We're getting those messages. We're going to filter out those that were deleted, since those kind of can get brought through. Now, works a little different here in the response when you are extracting reactions to different messages and replies. It only the display name doesn't come through properly, or at least it wasn't through for our testing. So we do have this get user profile where we're getting the object ID for the individual or the user ID to then convert that to then properly store their name, like who reacted, what kind of reaction was had. Okay. I want to quickly run through the prompts that we created to help kind of facilitate and help determine topics. So this is just a brief example. In these, as I was kind of building out this example for this demo, I was like, let's have fun. Let's plug in all of the some Microsoft applications. We'll track the Microsoft suite and any feedback on those. So we kind of built this prompt. Took a lot of trial and error to really hone in on getting some good data out of the prompt and out of the model. But I think what we had discovered here works great. It worked for us very accurate, clean, works. Okay. And then lastly, we wanted to find a way, okay, how can we track when someone is asking a question, offering a suggestion to another member or user in the community, or just question, suggestion, comment. And what we had found building this prompt actually provided a lot of great insight, because once now we have this data, we're storing it. How can we report on it? How can we make sure that the questions are getting answered and make sure there's coverage? So this one has actually proven quite valuable. And actually there's a pull request on this one that just got approved by April. So if you want to check out this one, go to the repo and you can check this one out further. There's a similar one to that. Okay. And two more quick things. I know we have 6 minutes left, but wanted to quickly kind of show through the example of what the table actually looks like where we're storing this information and what we're getting. So kind of some pretty basic information: message ID, the date it was posted, name, what type of, was it a post, reply, reaction, the message itself, the reaction type, if they're hearting, liking, mean face. And then this kind of where it gets into, are they asking a question and what was the sentiment around it? We do have one other table that does track the topics themselves. So I'll quickly show that. And what we did is we created a relationship with the two, so then the two tables can talk back with each other. So obviously in a lot of feedback, we were finding that users wanted to talk about multiple things in a single post. So we created a separate table, created a relationship with the two, so then we can, obviously multiple topics can come out of a message. So we created a separate table and then tied the message ID back to the messages table. Okay. One last thing I want to show, and one thing that we're really piloting with just having data and extracting data is summarizing it using AI through Copilot, AI Builder using prompts. And that's the one last thing I want to show, because if the data is just sitting in your Dataverse, or even if we put it into use Power BI to visualize it, or however we want to consume it, we did find that we wanted to kind of, through some brainstorming, how could we get like a quick output to send to individuals, like, okay, hey, what is being discussed in the community or in the Teams channels? So I want to flip over to my Teams chat here. And obviously there's a lot of different ways you could do this. I kind of just kept it simple. You could, I think it really just depends on the users you're working with and who's the audience for this type of solution to kind of get that summary. You could go from just using the workflow chat with an adaptive card. You can have it sent via email. You can, if you want to create your own Copilot bot inside Teams to have it talk to, there's a lot of great alternatives. We're currently testing and using adaptive cards in the workflow chat, but we might, here soon we might explore building a Copilot. But just for today, I just wanted to keep it simple and just show you, some just like how powerful it can be to get a nice summary, and how AI can just make it so simple and easily to digest information from that. So then we're not wasting time, looking through all the Dataverse data, all the messages, okay, what are users talking about? Just use AI, plug the messages into AI. You can build a prompt, build whatever you want to. But the AI summarization is so great. It's so concise. It removes any duplicates. It just keeps it compact. And we've gotten some great feedback on it. So again, there's a lot of different avenues where you could take the summary, but I definitely recommend it. Definitely something that we're implementing more, through dashboards and just general, in like this case where, you can, have a chat bot. You can talk like, hey, I want to learn more about what's being said about Microsoft Teams or Power Platform. So a lot of cool stuff that you could do there that I wanted to show. So that is it for me. I really appreciate everyone letting me demo today. Thank you for the time, and I will turn it back to you, Shane. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Reid. And that was really awesome, right? And a couple of thoughts from Reid stuff, right? One is that I see thousands of apps a year, right? We don't see enough people integrating their apps and flows with Teams, right? Teams is such a center cornerstone of your business. Find more ways to get that plugged in your app. So like, Reid's doing here by collecting information from it, sending notifications via Teams messages instead of emails. The sky is the limit, and we just need to do more cool stuff like Reid is doing. Also, I love the use of AI prompts. I love that you've gotten in there. You've written some of your own custom ones. You point out April kind of maintains an awesome library of those that you submitted to. So kudos there. Love seeing you plugged in, and great job, Reid. All right. Kind of wrap this puppy up here real quick. Remember, there are lots of different helpful resources out there. There's, AKA MS Join the Community. Start there if you don't know where to jump into. It has links off to other places, but we got videos, samples, community, all of these great ways to get involved and learn and do and share along the way. We've got the different community calls. There's, the weekly ones, the monthly ones, the bi-weekly ones. There are so many community calls. There's so many ways to get involved. I know my dear friend Vesa there hosts a lot of these different calls. Lots of good stuff in them. So wherever this makes sense for you to plug into, get plugged in. Go learn new stuff. I just can't stress enough. And then do community right, like Ryan did, right? Get involved in LinkedIn, Twitter, X, whatever you call the thing, contributing samples. The sky is the limit of where you can take your career as you use the community as one of those cornerstones. There is also, speaking community, an official Discord server. So there is the link off of that, aka mscommunity/Discord. If you are a Discord chatter, then there is a good way to get plugged in the community via that. And then finally, right, we need feedback. So aka MS community calls, feedback. So, rate the call, tell them how awesome it is, having pictures of Shane and Buddy in the middle of the call, the important stuff. But no, really, provide your feedback. It helps us get better. It helps us make sure that we shape these the right way, right? They're community calls, so we want them to be the right fit for the community. So, Vesa, any closing remarks you'd like to share before we call it a day?
No, I think that's it. You did a good job once again on hosting, Shane. Thank you. I have to say, within our long-lasting history, I was starting to thinking that earlier today as we were chatting. We've known each other since 2010, I guess.
I think it was 07.
It could be 07. That's true. It's been a while. So, yes. But good to have you on the call. Thank you for the help in here. I know that David Warner is coming back pretty soon as well. So you'll see David in this calls as well. And Shane is also going to be here in the future as well. But thank you. Really, really great hosting. And thank you for all of the videos and awesome stuff what you do, Shane, for the Power Platform community. Brilliant stuff.
Oh, thank you for having me. Everyone, thank you, right? Go contribute to the community, figure it out. Go use AI today, do some awesome stuff, and we will hopefully see you next month.